Hello, welcome back to my Flosstube channel. This is video number 3. Meant to have this one out a few weeks ago, but I got sick. I think I had COVID. I didn't test, so I don't know, but it's that kind of sickness where you have to tell everyone about it because you just felt so unwell. And it's been over 2 weeks now, and I still have a sore throat. So it's not going away fast. I can't remember a time I've been this sick for such a long period of time. Like this one just seems to be sticking around. But we're fully functional. I'm able to pack orders and finally do videos. So let's get cracking. Okay, so today I want to talk a little bit about the US shipping updates. We're going to go through my work in progress pieces. I want to give you a little sneak peek of the cotton for my next stitch along. When you see it all together, it looks really great. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek of the new quarterly sub boxes that we're switching over to in just a couple of weeks' time. And lastly, I filmed a daily vlog just going through everything I did yesterday, which was Monday. Mondays are traditionally my packing day because I've got all the orders from over the weekend. And a couple of weeks ago when I tried to film this video, that vlog, I was going to do a whole week, but then I got sick. Like within the first 45 minutes of starting that vlog, everything started to go downhill. Like all my kids started getting sick. So it didn't work out. So I thought I'll just do the daily vlog because then we're not tempting fate. So yeah, you'll see what I get up to most Mondays. All right, so first up, let's talk about the US tariffs. So it's kind of a bit of a mess right now. And all the information we're getting is sort of coming in dribs and drabs, and we don't really know what's real and what isn't. But it's sort of coming together a bit now. And it looks like by the end of this month, by the end of August, everything's going to start to get into place. So Australia, I make Australian goods. So we fall under the 10% tariff. Thankfully, but it's not the tariffs that are the issue because, it's easy enough just to add an additional 10% to the US orders, especially because my US customers, you're a very patient and understanding lot. Like you already understand that it's shipping from Australia, so it's going to take a little bit longer. It's a little bit more expensive. Like you get it. And they're just a wonderful group of customers to have. And they're the people who understand that this isn't Amazon, and you probably don't want it to be Amazon. You want something that's going to be a bit more, maybe a small business more aligns with your values as well, which I really appreciate. But unfortunately, there looks like there is going to be an additional fee. So traditionally, there has been something called a de minimis exemption. I think that's how you say it. So basically, in the past, all orders that are under $800 in value go through automatically, like there's no duties applied to that. But looks like on the August 29th, that exemption is being removed. So the tariff will apply to all parcels no matter what. And like I said, the 10% isn't the issue. The issue is this new fee that looks like it's going to be applied. So while they work out how they're going to apply all the different tariffs from all the different countries to millions and millions of parcels that are coming in, what they're going to do is apply a flat fee to each parcel. And that fee for us is $80. $80 per parcel. A lot of our parcels aren't even worth $80 themselves. So that is a big issue. $80 is a lot, and it's going to stop a lot of parcels. Think about these millions of parcels that people are going to not know that was going to be applied, so they're going to not accept the parcels. And they're going to ask for refunds, and then these parcels will be I guess they'll be destroyed. They might be sent back to the small business for a fee. Times that by millions and millions, and that is just going to be an absolute mess. So just for the time being, we're pausing physical shipping to the US. And I have seen lots and lots of businesses, especially in Australia, that have already started that. And I think it's just to sort of, if it was just the tariffs, it would have been fine. But this fee is a big game changer. So I'm sure you understand why it needs to be paused. I don't think it's going to last for a long time. I did read somewhere, and I don't know how reliable this information is. I read that it should all be smoothed out by January, they're starting, and then that's when just the 10% tariff will kick in. And when that happens, when we're sure that no extra fees are being applied, we can just switch everything back on just with that little 10% bump. Hopefully in the long run, it all goes back to how it was, but we've just got to wait and see. So that's the update for the Americans. Keep in mind though, it's not the end of the world, because you can still get the digital downloads. So even though there's certain fabrics or certain supplies you might miss out on for the time being, you can still join in with the stitch alongs. You can source your own suppliers. You're very lucky you have fabric and thread over in the US as well. So there won't be too much. Like if you're really determined to join in, there's definitely ways of getting around that. So that's good news. Also for myself, it's not going to be, I'm pretty lucky, it's not going to be a big hit to my business. So across both of my businesses, the US sales, so for Sew It All, I don't ship to the US at all. And that's because my supplier already has a US distributor over there. So I just handle Australia and New Zealand. So yeah, for Spruce, it really is, I looked it up, over the last 90 days, I think it made up less than 10% of my sales. So there'll be a little bit of a hit, but hopefully with more people buying digital downloads, maybe that will sort of soften the blow a little bit. But there's a lot of businesses out there who, the US makes up 40-50% of their sales, and that's just a huge chunk of their revenue just gone instantly. So I really feel for those businesses. And I think that I would be in that same position as well, because, at the start of this year, I was on the track to just scale and scale and scale this business. Like I had an employee and we were advertising for the US. We were getting ready to join Amazon in the US, just as a way of having our products in a US warehouse so that it could be shipped off faster so we could get more US sales. And then eventually, as you grow in volume, you move away from Amazon and you go to it's called a 3PL, like a third party logistic warehouse, and then they pack all your orders for you. So that was the direction I was heading. And we were getting there, like our sales had really increased because I turned on ads to the US. We were getting a lot of sales, and with Spruce, our sales did get up to about 50% US orders. And that was getting very stressful. Like there was a lot of work to do. I needed to give my employee more hours, maybe start looking at, I had a contractor in to help make up kits. And then when I was looking at the profit margins of all of this, I realized that there were two options, because I was looking to give myself a pay raise because I was working part-time, but I wanted to go to full-time. And I would have liked my pay to increase with those hours. So my two options, I hired a company to help me look at my numbers. The two options were to continue scaling, which I was, and just keep pushing, which is just so much work. It's just exhausting. And now I look back on it, I don't think I even realized how much work we were doing, how many orders we were pumping out. It was just incredible. My other option was actually to not have an employee, cut down on the amount of sales that I was doing, as in orders. What I mean by that is not continually chase more and more orders and new customers and keep scaling ads, but actually just stay at the level I'm at of orders and even decrease it a little bit so that I don't have as much to do, but then work on getting my profit margin up. So that was, tightening up my expenses, and obviously not having an employee anymore. That was a big expense that freed up a bit more profit. And then I looked at those two options thinking I could personally make the same amount of money from either option. I think I'm going to go with the easiest way, just relaxing a little bit. And I'm extraordinarily happy I made that decision. For one, I feel a lot more relaxed. I probably feel more relaxed than I have since before I had kids, because I've had 3 boys since I've had this business. So each pregnancy, I have extremely awful pregnancies. They were just sick one of those lucky ladies who get sick the whole 9 months. So that is a lot of months feeling terrible, but while still keeping these businesses running. And even though you're on a maternity leave, you can't quite switch off. So you've still got people to pay, you've still got bills to come in. I don't think I've had proper mental switch off, proper break for over 5 years. Or my oldest son is 7, so 7 years. So I'm feeling that now. I think it's probably a little bit of burnout as well, but I'm feeling a lot more relaxed about everything. I feel like, you know, I've got amazing customers. So, and I have a very high returning customer rate. So, you know, anytime I bring out something new, I know it's going to sell. So that just takes a lot of stress off. So now that all these tariff things are happening, because I've already made the decision not to chase those American sales, it's not such a huge deal. Like, could you imagine if I had have gone the other way and we had just started moving in that direction of getting as many US sales as we can? It wouldn't have been, if we had have gotten into Amazon, it probably would have been okay, but it just would have been very stressful to work it out. So everything happens for a reason. It's not to say I won't go down that route in the future. I just think I need to give my brain a bit of a break and just make my new designs and make my videos and just kind of enjoy what I've already built. I think I made the right decision. Okay, so enough about that. Let's do some of the good stuff, which is showing off some of the things I've been working on. Okay, I'm gonna have to go and find them because I think they're spread out all over the house, so I will be back. Okay, so this one you've seen before. I'm gonna take it out of its Nurge hoop. So this is the little sister pattern to one of my kit designs. A little quote design: I can achieve anything I put my mind to unless it is too boring or hard. Almost done. What's missing? Oh, I think actually I'm even closer than I thought. I just have a little bit of back stitching around the flower, and I need to back stitch these leaves. And here I love the little bee, the little ladybird. Ladybird's probably my favorite. So this is 18 count. So not my favorite to stitch on, but you know, once you get used to it, it's just the switching over from 14 to 18, 14 to 18 that sort of is ugh. But once you get used to it, it's actually not that bad. What I needed to do was just start this and just work on it and finish it, rather than I would switch between my projects. I shouldn't do that. Make sure you tell me next time not to do that. Just get it done. So this will be like 10 minutes of work. I just need to actually get it done. Then I can release that as a kit. What else do we have? Oh, we just finished our Colourpop stitch along this week. When did we release part 6? On Friday. So this stitch along I think has been our most engaged one. So it was I think it's stitch along number 5 or 6. And it was our first black work design, and I didn't know how it was going to go. There are genuinely times when I release something and I'm just not sure, because it's a little bit different than what I'm used to and what other people expect from me. But this had an amazing response. People really enjoyed the back stitch of the black work. So I think I converted a lot of people, and I love designing it, and I'm definitely going to design more in the future. And I do have one that I'm currently working on right now that I can't show you because it's top secret, but I will show you the finished Colourpop design. Look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? All finished, nice and neat. We'll go in a little bit closer. Can't remember what was, I guess I can. So our first was the aqua in the middle with the little red flower. And I think we went up to the emerald checkerboard, and I think I called this one Coral Cosmos. And then we had, this was Indigo Odyssey. I used ChatGPT to help me name all the different squares, and I spent way too long on that. Let's see if I can remember them. I think this might have been Golden Hearts, Amethyst Arrows, Pink Posies, I think. This might have been called Celestial Snowflakes. Lime Links. What was this? Sunset Squares. And then Golden Locusts. What was the middle one called? Can't remember. But it looks amazing all up together. So the next Blackwork stitch along is a little bit different. It's not going to be the same squares design, but I will do a sister pattern to this in the future, so that, because everyone loves a matching set, don't they? So I might do 2 or 3 of those in the future. But the next one is, it is blackwork. It's quite repetitive. It's more repetitive than this, you know, because there was something new in each one. So I'm thinking about making the next one an express stitch along. So because it's 7 parts and each part is quite quick to do. So I'm thinking, instead of stretching it out over 7 months, let's release each part every 2 weeks. So it'll be 14 weeks. So about a 3.5 month project, which I think is pretty apt. So that is that one. Super happy with that, how that turned out, and looking forward to getting the next one going. I think we're going to release the next one at the start of October, because I have to get through the quarterly, I have to release the quarterly subscription box first and get that done. Then we can move on to the next stitch along. Earlier in this year, when I made all the changes to my business moving forward, I planned out that I would, just to make the workload a little bit easier on me, just have one thing per month to focus on. So whether that's a sub box or a stitch along or a sale, you know, there's always something that's going on, rather than, you know, if it's not planned out and I just try to do too many things at once. This is kind of giving myself, like putting the handbrake on myself, like stop thinking about that, because this month is this task. So I think that sometimes that's needed, especially because I've always got 1,000 ideas going on in my brain and I have no one here to tell me not to do it. So I have to be the one to tell me to do it. Let's see if it works. I think it will. I think it will go well with my new relaxed business structure. So okay, so we did the stitch along. What else can I show you? I'm trying to decide. Since we're just talking about the next stitch along, let me show you the cotton for that. And then we'll move on to the quarterly. I'll give you the sneak peek of the new quarterly subscription design. Okay, let me go grab the cotton. Okay, I ordered 5 boxes of each because I like to sort of start to order the cotton in dribs and drabs so that I don't have this huge $10,000 cotton order before the stitch along. So, also because this is all variegated thread, I wasn't sure how much the supplier had in stock, so I thought the earlier I start ordering, the easier it's going to be, I think. All right, I'll open them up. So there's 3 other plain solid colors, and there are 7 variegated colors. So, and I don't know, most of the numbers, you know, the DMC numbers, I know. It's like if you say 550, I know that that is dark purple. I can picture the color in my mind. I reckon I could probably do 90% and get them right. The variegateds, I do not know, because they do not make sense. There's no rhyme or reason, but that seems to be DMC's MO. But I don't question, I just buy. All right, number 90. Got this beautiful golden color. Let's get nice and close so it's not blurry. So there's quite a big difference between the lightest and the darkest. Like if you look at light, it's almost white. It's like a very, very pale yellow. But look at the darkest, it goes almost to an orange. So you get a lot of variation in the variegated thread. That's 90. 106. Here we've got a nice, kind of like a corally red color, which is really nice. I'm going to take one of each out so that we can see them all together at the end. 51. I'm going to guess green. Nope. All right, here we have, now this is sort of a cross, in between the golden yellow and that coral. Sort of more of a terracotta-y orange. 52. Maroon. Nope. Purple. Nice purple colours there. Lots of variation in that. Shall I guess the next one? 52. That was 51. No, we've done 52. 51. Let's say that's No, I did 51. 94. Blue. Nope. I like this one. This is a green. It's kind of more like a olivey green. But again, lots of variation. 93, if that was olive, this is blue. Got to be blue eventually. Yay! Here we go. There we go. There's a couple of different blue versions in the variegated. I'd like them to expand the variegated selection, but maybe we're just spoiled for choice there. 115, I already know what this is because I have designed using these colours. So the one missing is a maroon or a dark red. Just really nice. And if we put them all together, let me try to arrange them in a nice little, this is the order that they're arranged in the stitch along design. So here's another little bit of information for you. I'm trying to hold them up flat, but they're not playing ball. Here we go. See, all together, get the purple out there, I've got orange and the red. They look really good all together. Very colourful. So I'll let you know, actually the new stitch along is called Petal Parade. I've already named it, so you can guess that there's a floral theme. And yes, there are 3 other solid colours that go with this, but you'll have to wait and see until I start releasing more information about that. So that is the next stitch along. Done. All right, the main event, I think, in case you didn't know, at the moment I have a monthly subscription box, and that has been going for about 4 years, and it consists of, here, I've got the box here. Oh, there's stuff in here. Oh, there we go. So you would get, let me get some supplies so that you can see what, say for example, this month, you would get, this is the larger fabric. See, it's, I don't know if you can see it that well, it's sort of mottled blue and green, and that would go with the 12-inch hoop. And you would also get a second colour. We've got orange here with the 8-inch hoop. So you would have 2 designs per subscription box. You would have this last theme is totally awesome, and it is dinosaur themed. So you had 2 to choose from. These ones would fit in the 12cm hoop, and then you would have 2 minis that you could choose from as well. And then you'd also get bobbins. You would get the whole skein of cotton. So there's 4 here, you'd get 5. So all of my designs are created using 5, which is a challenge. I got used to it over time, but only having 5 colors it's limiting. And you'll get a needle and the bobbins for the cotton. So that was really great. 4 years of patterns is almost 50 different themes, because each box was themed, and they were all different color combinations, color palettes, lots and lots of puns, because that's my preferred cross-stitch design. You'd always get like a little pun in the box. So some of the themes, I'll go through some of them for you. They definitely varied, and with this new quarterly box, the reason I'm switching is because it's just a lot of work to do a monthly box, especially now with my new chill motto. So I would like the option to just have a couple of designs in my quarterly box, and then I can talk about them, and people aren't rushed to have to buy them in that month. Like, they can take their time. And also people were starting to build up, boxes of unfinished, because months, they go very quickly. And before you know it, the next box has arrived, and then you start to feel guilty because you haven't done it. And then you're praying for a good sickness so you can stay in bed and just stitch all day. But we're not all that lucky. So I think a quarterly box will just, it matches my season of life. It might even encourage more people to join up, because it's just, it's once a quarter. It's a really good, treat me box. That's what I wanted. I want it to be something that's like an experience. So I am changing it a little bit. Before I show you, I was going to share with you some of my past designs. I'll try to find a picture of the very first design, and I think it was called Summer Days. Fun little fact, I'm not sure if I've told you, but when I started this subscription box, I thought if I can get 50 subscribers, that would be amazing. And then I read this book called Get Rich Lucky Bitch by Denise Duffield Thomas, and it's just about changing your mindset around money, being a little bit more open to, instead of having that scarcity mindset that, you know, money is finite, you've got to look at it as always going to come back to you. So you can spend it and it will come back to you. And that was something that, especially in business, it took me a long time to get used to, the fact that you have to spend money in order to make money. And it's like a muscle that you have to keep practicing. So this was one of my first tests, because I thought, if I want 50 people to join up, you know, I need to have enough stock for 50. But then I read this book and I was like, what if I had the stock for more people? If I only have enough supplies for the 50 people, I'm only ever going to get 50 people. But if I have more, this is a bit woo-woo, but it sort of tells the universe that you are open to having more people. And then subconsciously, the actions that you take, like if you have more supplies, then maybe you say, well, maybe I'll do a little bit of extra advertising because I know I have to sell this. And then that creates more sales, and it all builds on itself. And actually that was when I was doing these subscription boxes, that was the first time I ever created a video of myself on Instagram, because I think I knew I had all these extra supplies because I wanted 50. So I bought 5 times that in supplies, which back then was so much money. And I remember thinking, that's just no possible way. So I had enough supplies for 250 subscription boxes, and I just forced me to do like the video to sort of take me out of my comfort zone, because I'm like, right, put a little bit on the line here. Let's try to sell as many as possible. And I ended up selling, I think it was 246 boxes. That sold me on this book. I do recommend it. Like, I'm not a fully woo-woo person, but I think you need a little bit of woo-woo in your life. All right, I'm going back to show you these subscription boxes. So yes, I hope I have a picture of the Summer Days. That was the first one, and it had blue and yellow fabric. All right, so some of the different themes we've had animals, so like penguins, we've had galahs, koalas, flamingos, turtles and ducks, lots of animals. We've also had like novelty themes. So things like we've had candy hearts, and then, you know, like Christmas ones, Halloween ones. We had a Curiouser one, Alice in Wonderland, skirting the fine line of copyright there. So I didn't want to go too... I don't do too many that are that close to copyright, but I think I was just giving it a go. We've had little funny ones, like we've had Monopoly, music, we've had a couple of different craft ones. So like Stitch Up, that's still popular. That one, there's a few of these that I think I'm going to release as kits as well now, because it's been so long. Some of the more popular ones. Lots of like nature themed ones, like with flowers. We've had the pines, like daisies, roses. We've had food ones as well. We've had Nutella, tacos. We've had donuts. You can see from that range, really nothing is off limits. You can make a cross-stitch theme about pretty much anything. And one of the things I never struggled with was figuring out what the theme was. So like I could probably keep doing this for another 10 years and have a different theme every month, no problem. The issue was finding time to actually sit down and create all of these designs, because that's 4 charts per month, year on year on year. That's a lot. It's a lot of cross-stitch designing. So I have to admit, I had a little bit of a block when it came to this quarterly design. And I think it's just because it's just whenever you release something new. So in my mind, this is like a fresh start. I'm going to be removing everyone's subscriptions, and anyone who wants to join up will join up again. So clean slate. It's kind of and a lot of people are paying attention to what this design is going to be. So there's a bit of pressure. So I think I was kind of putting it off a little bit. I had an idea in my head initially, and I couldn't quite make it work at the beginning. So I was putting it off, and then I got sick, so that put me behind. And then last week or the week before, it just kind of clicked. Like I just found a way to make the design work. And this happens a lot with my other subscription boxes. So what I would do is I'd have my theme, I'd sketch it all out, and then I'd go to design it in the program, and some of them just weren't clicking, like it wasn't working. So what I would do is usually do like a draft and I'd go and work on something else. You know, I'd work on another, like I'd work on 3 months worth of subscription boxes at a time. So that wasn't working. All right, I'd switch to my next one. You know, sometimes they just came out perfect, easily, quickly, no problem. But if I was stuck on one, I'd work on it a little bit, go back to another, work on that, go back to it. Sometimes it would just need to come back to it and little by little work on it. And eventually it would click. And it's just like a little switch in my brain that's like, oh, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do. And it will all come out. So that's a really good addictive feeling. So that happened with this one. Let me show you the supplies first before I show you the design, and then it will all start to make sense. All right, so the boxes. So like I showed you before, the old box is A5 size. The new box is bigger, thinner, but bigger. Just over A4 size, which turned out really well. I might make some changes, but all up, I really love it. Super colourful. I did also get a sample printed in the white, which the colours are more vibrant, but the craft is actually easier to fold. Like it's softer and it's easier on your hands. And I thought, if I'm going to be folding hundreds and hundreds of these boxes, let me gift myself the easier option. So look, that's the difference in them. This one's a bit more shinier. I really like this one. I like that natural look. So we're going with this. Now, to compare the size of the designs, this was the 8 centimeter and the 12. So that was the old box. Now for the new box, you are getting this one, the 20 centimeter and the 12, and we're removing the small one. So big difference. The large hoop is going to be white fabric or whatever fabric it'll be a plain color, but whatever fabric I'm choosing for that month. The first month it's just going to be white because the design is quite colorful. And then for this one, like I showed you in my last Flosstube video, I had this fabric printed up specially for this box. Give you a close up here. This is called Rainbow Picnic, and I really love this. And that will go. So what was the large design is now the small design in our new quarterly box, and you'll have this one. So another big change is instead of having the 5 skeins of cotton, you're going to have up to 12, but you won't get the full skein. It'll be in the little made up packs like this. That's just because now I have, you know, when I was giving out the full skeins, it was because I need to pump out these as quickly as possible. Now, since they're quarterly, I have a bit more time, so I can make up the little sorted packs. And this month we're having 11 colors. Designing with more colors than just the 5, it's like taking a warm bath. Like, it's just so relaxing and fun for me as a designer. And these are the colors. 11, I think there's 11 there. What's that? Yep, 11. You might notice that they match quite well with this, which is not an accident. So I'm really happy with that color palette. And what else will you get in there? You'll have your hoops, your fabric. So with this design, with this quarterly box, you'll just have the 2 designs. Like, there were 4 designs in the last box, but with the quarterly box I just decided just to have the 2. So you'll stitch up the 2. There's no choices because the designs are much more detailed, and I'm really just spending the same amount of time doing these much more detailed designs than I was when I did the 4 quick ones. And I can confirm that as I've been stitching up the new design, it's taking a lot longer to stitch up than just the quick ones, but just because I love putting a lot of detail into it. It's fun. So cotton, fabric, hoops. What else will you get? You will get obviously a new designed instruction booklet. Okay, you get the needle there. You won't have the bobbins anymore because you won't be getting the skeins. And you'll also get a couple of little treats. So the treats are going to change. I think they will change each month, especially because one of them I want to be giving out for the first month. You get a little Tim Tam. If you're not familiar with Australian biscuits, then Tim Tams are the go-to chocolate biscuit. And they're individually wrapped, so you don't have to stress. But I can't be sending that in summer, so but I think this is going to be part of it. I think I'm going to really enjoy sourcing the different treats that you'll get. And then you'll also get a little T2 tea bag as well. So that's just something, you know, having to source treats like that every month would have been really stressful, but because it's just quarterly and I've got so much time to prepare, I think that's going to be like a little treat for me and a treat for you. So, and that's part of making this box an experience. You get your box, you have all your supplies and your instructions. So you've got your projects, you've got your treats, you can have a cup of tea and a biscuit and just take some time for yourself. So that's the idea behind it. A little bit more special and not quite as frequent because it's quarterly. All right. So now I'm going to show you, I think you probably want to see the design. I haven't finished it yet, as in it's all, both of the designs they're created, they're designed, but they haven't been mocked up, they haven't been finished just yet. But you'll get a good idea from what I'm about to show you. So here we go. I'll let you have a look at that. So imagine this in a 20 centimeter hoop. So this design is going to be called, or this box is going to be called So Far, So Good. So far, so good. You get it? Still got to keep with the puns. So we've got the blue couch, the little pink armchair, cute little modern furniture. This is going to be another armchair with a little ottoman with some books on top. And then over here we've got another chair as well. So who would have thought chairs or sofas or armchairs could be a whole theme? But when I designed this pattern, I had kind of originally envisioned like an armchair like this by a window, and the armchair had this pattern on it. I just couldn't make it work. Like, it just wasn't looking any good. And then it clicked for me, make them all little modern chairs. And if you'll notice here, the pillow, the little cushions are supposed to replicate this pattern. So when you've got the two side by side, they got a lot of crossover and a lot of matching. And the design on this one is going to be very sort of similar. It's got it's going to say So Far, So Good, and it'll have a chair that's similar to this one, but it is pink striped, and then there's some little things around that as well. So there we go. That is what I've got so far. Bit of back stitch around the edge. This is not done up here, but really this has been really fun to stitch up. So it's turned out really well. Better than expected, actually. So I'm looking forward to showing you the finished design. That should be finished this week. And then I can get it all online and everyone will have plenty of notice of what it's going to be, what exactly they're getting. And then I probably very quickly after that have to start working on the next quarterly box so that people can see what's coming up. But yeah, I don't have time to do the next one while getting this out the door. So everyone who signs up will just kind of have to trust that they'll like the next one. Although it's very easy to cancel or skip. So we're keeping the same program as before. Lots of people who, if you had a look at the upcoming designs and were like, that one's not for me, you just skip that month and then you get the next month. Easy peasy. So that is the quarterly box. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, if that's sort of your style or not really your style, or either way, that's what our quarterly box is going to be. So I hope you love it. So I think everything I have to show you. So I hope you enjoy the vlog and I will see you for the next Flosstube video. Thanks for joining. Okay, 9:17 a.m. Monday morning. This is take 2 of my work vlog. Let's see if I can make it through the day. And I'm not going to do the whole week because I think I'm tempting fate if I try to record my whole week. The house might set on fire or something. So we'll just do the Monday. So my Mondays are typically very similar every single week. So the main priorities are orders, customer emails first, and then orders. So I do all the weekend orders, try to get through as many as I can because I have the post office come and pick up on Tuesday morning. So if I can just get through as many as possible, then it clears a bit of space going into the week, going into Tuesday. And I also need to send my digital subscription. So I have a little digital subscription where every Monday I send out a funny little pattern, little cross stitch chart, and they're designed to be small and sort of easy to stitch up. So I have to do that first thing. Normally I do orders and emails first thing no matter what, but this is one of those tasks that it only takes 10 or 15 minutes. I'm not actually sure. I should time it. We'll time it and see how long it actually takes me. But if I leave it, I forget about it and I put it off, and then I'm doing it over dinner. So I want to avoid that, and I can avoid that by doing it first thing in the morning. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll show you what my little digital pattern is for this week. Okay, I just had to do a double check on my computer to make sure I'm not sharing anything on the screen that I'm not supposed to, like upcoming stitch alongs, but this is the pattern for this week. I may appear nonchalant, but I assure you I am chalanting about a lot of things actually. So see, they're just little funny, non-serious patterns, and it's really cheap per month, so it's just a good way for people to constantly have a cross-stitch project on the go. All right, 9:21. Let's see how long sending out this design actually takes. Okay, it is 9:38, so that took, 17 minutes? This is a really good advertisement for why you should eat the frog, I think they call it. Just get it done, because it takes hardly any time, and it just sits on your mind. So, I still need to post it on Instagram. I'll do that after, but my shopping has just been delivered, so I'm going to go and put that away, and then I'll be back to do customer emails. Okay, it's 9:45. I cheated a little bit and I only put away the cold stuff and the frozen stuff. So the rest of it is there waiting for me to put away later. Something else I really need to do today is I need to drink more water. I've still got a little bit of a sore throat. Still, this is 2 weeks later after first getting sick. So it's still kind of hanging around. So I need to hydrate so I don't collapse in the middle of the studio. And something I'm going to do just before I start doing emails is I just have to clean up a little bit. It's starting to get a little bit cave-like. So one thing I really need to get rid of, I'll show you here, like I've got a bit of a cardboard pile happening. Even over here when I restocked the cotton, see there's stacks of the cotton boxes. So I'm just going to get those all out of the office. Out of sight, out of mind. And I'll clean off some of the desk a little bit. So this is not nearly as bad as it can get, but just because everything has been in such disarray over the last couple of weeks with being sick and just surviving, it's all a little bit out of hand. So if I can get it a little bit clearer, I think that will clear out my mind as well and just make the day a little bit better. Let's do that. So the good news is that I have a recycling centre. It's about 3 or 4 minute drive from my house, and it's free to drop off cardboard right there. So that is very helpful because that's one of the things that really builds up in the office. We don't have a lot of waste, so I think that's just come out of necessity of having a scrappy business, like right from the beginning, is, make sure I use all my fabric, all of, we hardly waste any cotton, any actual supplies, but it's the packaging that kills you. So we're lucky that when I look at it, actually a lot of our packaging comes in cardboard and paper. So that is good for the planet, but yeah, we do start to build up quite a bit, especially when it's like I have a 2-car garage size office, but when half of it is full of cardboard, it starts to feel a lot smaller than that. So we've got here a little bit of extra floor space. Just if you can walk around a bit clearer, it just makes everything so much easier. It just makes putting together the orders a lot easier. You're not tripping over things, and it's not weighing on your mind that you've got to clear out everything. All right, so I'll pop that in the car, and I'm not going to take it right now. I won't take it to the recycling centre now, but at least it's out of the office. Okay, now to clean just the desktop, and then I'll leave it at that. I don't really use this side anymore. It just has become a bit of a dumping ground. I use the other side and then the other desk behind it as like the packing station. I've kind of got everything set up the way I like it, but it does mean I have to look at this, and that's part of the problem. So I'll just clear away as much as I can. Again, we're going for the clear desk, clear mind theme for today, and then we can get cracking. So, okay, hopefully it doesn't take too long. Okay, 10:11 a.m, much better. Now, this is kind of like the inside of my brain now. I've cleared some space. I've also, one thing that low-key stresses me out, I changed the bin bag. It stresses me out when I have to balance things on top of the bin because my brain doesn't register that the bin needs to be changed. Say to myself, I'll do that every Friday afternoon, but that hardly ever happens. So Monday morning is just as good. Okay, office cleared. This is the cutting table. Fun fact about the cutting table. When we ordered this, they said it's going to be months and months and months before it arrives. We said, that's fine, because I was pregnant. They said probably October, November, we don't know. Perfectly fine. And we ordered it from Geelong, which is about 2 hours away. And we said, right, deliver it. The closest place they could deliver it to is about 20 minutes from our house. Said, yes, deliver it there. Everything's fine. Just let us know. And then the one day that I didn't open my computer and check my emails was the day in August, this is 2021, when I had my cesarean section. So I was booked in. Thought, you know what, I'll give myself a little break from work that day. That was the day that it was delivered. And because they couldn't get a hold of me, they didn't deliver it to the place 20 minutes away. They delivered it to Geelong. So we had a tiny little newborn baby, and we sent my sister and my husband up, drove to Geelong, somehow jammed this in the back of the car, and they brought it back. So sometimes these things happen, but it is a fantastic table. It still feels just as new as when we bought it. It was a very good investment. So, but if this is clear, then everything else in the business basically can move forward. This is where I cut the fabric and do most of the orders. So this is sort of the main attraction of the whole business. I've kind of been putting it off, I think, but it's time to do emails, customer emails. They're always lovely. I hardly ever get any cranky emails at all, even when I was sick and the orders were delayed. Nothing. I maybe got one person very politely saying, oh, I'm wondering if it's been sent yet. I think cross stitches have to be one of the best cohort of customers you can get. I'm very lucky. All right, but let's get to it. All right, 11:02. Emails probably took a little bit longer than normal. It really kind of depends on the type of inquiries we get. Today it was kind of a mixed bag. So especially with sold all. So there's 3 email inboxes that I have to monitor. The sold all one, some of those inquiries can take a while. Like I had someone asking just for advice on the size fabric she needs. So they just give me the information of the design they want to create. And then it's really easy for me because I put the dimensions into my cross stitch program, and then it just spits out what size you need. Normally we have to add a border, like a 5 centimeter border, and then I just recommend whatever the closest size fabric that we have, and then send them the link, and then hopefully they take it from there. Usually there's always some custom inquiries. Like today we had someone asking if I could add a quote to a kit, which because the kit packaging is already all made up, so it can't be adjusted, and I just don't have any time to do custom orders. So I just do a blanket no on all custom. It is way too time consuming, but I have found someone that I can now recommend to. So another Australian, and she does some custom orders. So that's very handy having that. I try to look at sort of the theme of the kind of inquiries that are coming in. So if we're getting a lot of one particular inquiry, how can we address that so that they can get that information before they email? So maybe I need to make it clearer on my website that I don't do custom. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's only because I'm saying no, it's just a quick little reply. But that's basically how customer service works. You look for those little themes And I think this is where AI is going to come in as well. Like a lot of the big businesses now are getting AI to, I mean, we already are doing it. We're having the chatbots and they already sort of categorize you. You know, they try to funnel you into like, they give you options like, is your inquiry about this or this or this? So they've been doing that for a little while. And it's so frustrating because a lot of the time your inquiry is nothing to do with that. And they really don't want to put you on to someone to answer. So I don't get a whole heap of inquiries. So we're definitely not at chatbot level and probably never will be. Okay, so customer emails are done. I always do them first because if there's an inquiry to do with someone's order, you know, I don't want to make up their order first and then have to go back and change it. So emails first. So now we're going to get started on orders. So I will print out all the orders from over the weekend. 45 orders over the weekend, 30 from Spruce and 15 from Sourdough. So that's going to take a while. I ran a sale over the weekend, or it started last night, and it's still going. Once a year I have a PDF pattern sale. So I basically put 50% off all of my PDF cross-stitch patterns, like my whole library. And this is my favourite sale of the year because I get lots of sales, but I don't have to do any of the packing or making. But it also means that I can't run this sale all the time because it kind of needs to be special. So once a year works for me. So these are just all the physical orders. It doesn't count the digital downloads. But still, there's a lot to get going with. I do have a few left over from Friday because I needed to make up some cotton for some of my kits over the weekend, so I'll need to make those kits up. Also need to make up a few subscription boxes because I've got some orders coming in. All right, no point just sitting around. I better get to it. Oh, and it is 11:11. I'll just do as many orders as I can and then I will stop for some lunch. Okay, 11:50 and I've done 7 orders. So I started with the Spruce orders, this one here. Now, the problem is I always come up against not having enough kits in stock. So I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but I have all of the supplies. I just haven't had time lately to assemble them as kits. So now I have a stack of orders. I've written down everything I need, but I can't pack the orders until I've made up the kits. So this does slow down the packing process a lot. But I do have a market coming up in 3 weeks, and markets force me to get my stock together. I don't think this has actually recovered since I had a kit sale a few months ago. You can't have a market unless you have stock. So it will force me to get everything made up and I'll have nice full shelves until the next sale. But let's worry about that then. All right, so now I've got my list of kits that I need to make up. So I'm going to do that now, get them all out into the orders and see how many I can get labeled, pop them in the post box and just get them out of my hair, basically. Spruce orders are done. I'll just show you here. Big box of them there without showing any addresses. So just to give a bit of context, if I had have had all my stock made up like I like to, and all I had to do was pick and pack, that probably would have been a 20-minute job, like tops. But there were just so many little bits and pieces to that batch of orders. So there were like sub boxes that I hadn't made up, past stitch alongs, there were a heap of them that I hadn't made up either, kits, just all different kinds of things from all over the place. So it was a very bitsy and laborious packing procedure today, but that's okay. Just gives me motivation to finally get my act together and get my kits restocked. If I do my next Flosstube video and I haven't restocked my kits, I want you to yell at me. I give you full permission to yell at me in the comments, because I need to just make my life easier by getting these kits done. Okay, I have had lunch. And the time is, it's 2:11. So yeah, if I had have had everything organised, I would have been well into the Sew It All orders by now. But no matter, we persevere. I've texted the post office and they're going to come and pick up the orders tomorrow. So let me get started on the Sew It All orders and we'll just get through as many as we can. So I notice I have an order for Jacqueline here, and she has also ordered on Spruce, so both the Sew It All and Spruce websites. So whenever I see that pop up, because I've started to notice it more and more, probably because I advertise across both businesses, because it's the same kind of audience, isn't it? But when I notice someone has ordered on both, at the same time, I combine their orders and I refund any extra postage, because no one wants to be paying postage if they don't want to. But yes, if you ever order, just shoot me an email as well, just to make sure I don't miss it. I'm usually on top of it, but you never know. There are a lot of very similar names out there and it can sometimes slip under the radar. But let's get Jacqueline's done and then I can cross off 2 orders. So that will make me happy. So Jacqueline ordered white 14 count Aida, a big piece, 100 by 90, and a 100 by 90 piece of black 14 count Aida. So that'll keep her busy. And then from Spruce, she also ordered the Colourpop stitch along bundles with all the fabric and the threads that you need. This one just finished last week, so all the parts have been released, but I make sure I keep all my stitch alongs. Like, you'll always be able to get them, and you can join them anytime. You can get them when they're finished. There's no real scarcity. The benefit of joining a stitch along when it's currently running is that you get to sort of share it with everyone else, sort of being part of the Facebook group. And there's kind of a little bit of magic about doing it as a community. You know, cross stitch can be very, I don't want to say isolating, because that's a negative word. It's solitary. It's a solitary activity. So just adding even just a little bit of social connection is really what sort of makes our stitch alongs really fun. So I'm definitely glad I started them, and I will continue to do them. Colourpop was the first black work, and everyone really loved it. So the next stitch along I release is going to be black work as well. Okay, so this is done, and now I can cross off both of Jacqueline's orders, and I'll just keep going. So when I put a little post-it on my orders, so this one just says 645 and 310, it just means that I've run out of that number on the cotton tree and I have to go to my shelf and refill it. So I'll show you where we go. Around here, it's a bit messy. Well, actually, this part's a bit messy because I need to put this away, but it's all numbered. So these are the 3/8 up here. You know, like we've got the 3s, the 4s, the 5s, 6, and then it's all numerical. So it goes from down here and then up and up and up and up. It's a system that works for me. If I need 6, 4, 5, then I will grab the cotton tree. You can fit 2 boxes of each color on the cotton tree. So if I've got 2, I'm going to put 2 on there. And then the other one was 310. I've got a lot of that. So that's down here. Okay, so, and that's how I keep everything stocked up. It's hard because, you know, there's over 400 colors, and as much as you try to keep that stocked up with everything, it's not always super easy. So I just make sure that whenever I order new colors, I order 3 boxes at a time. It's hard to find that balance. Also, each box is, how much is each box? It's almost $10. So if you're ordering 300 or 400 boxes at a time, my cotton orders get very expensive very quickly. So it's sort of a balancing act between having enough in stock but not spending every single cent that you have on cotton, which would be very easy. All right, so I'm going to restock and fill up on any of the gaps in the orders here. Just had a real estate agent come to the door to ask if I want a free evaluation of the house, which is a hard no because we only moved in 2 years ago and I think another move would kill me. This is one of the, I'd say, disadvantages to working from home. The door knockers are not, maybe once a week, but it's so hard to avoid them because especially where I'm in the garage, what used to be our garage, but it looks directly out to where our front door is. So they see me and I see them. And there's nowhere to hide. So at least the real estate agent was fine. He had a chat and he went off. It's the worst of the meal boxes like HelloFresh and oh my God, because they just talk and talk. And they have, they have a script for every possible answer you can give them. You could say, we just had it, we just cancelled it, so we have allergies. It doesn't matter. They've always got something to come back. So it's really hard to get rid of them. Still, the benefits outweigh the disadvantages from working from home, but that's just one of the annoying parts right then. Update, it is 3:30. My son is expected home any minute. He should just appear at that door. I have done, what's that one? This is the 10th order for Sew It All. I think there's about 5 to go. A couple have come in while I've been packing, but we can just leave them for tomorrow. So I'm feeling very hopeful that I will get all the orders done today. So that is a big chunk of my week. Like this is all of Monday that usually gets dedicated to doing orders. But a little while ago, I was feeling like, got more orders to pack, especially since I don't have any employees anymore and I pack all the orders. It was starting to feel like a slog. But then I kind of thought, I need to reframe this because everything I do in this business comes down to orders. So any task I do, bringing out a new design or writing emails or anything, the number one goal of business is to get orders. And since I started thinking about it like that, I've enjoyed packing orders a lot more because this is it. This is the whole thing. And also packing orders is quite soothing. You don't have to use a lot of brain power. And also who wouldn't want to spend all day around colours and cotton and fabric. So I'm very grateful for this job that I have created for myself. And every job has its repetitive parts and its less enjoyable parts. You'll never find a job where 100% of it is amazing all the time. A lot of it's to do with mindset. And if you get your mindset right, I think your job will naturally become more enjoyable over time as well. All right, so I think I can see my son coming in. Now it's the home stretch. I've got to get the last bit of these orders done, a little bit of a tidy up, and then we're done for the day. It is 4:48 and I am done for the day. So we've got 2 boxes of orders that need to go out tomorrow with the post office. I decided to sacrifice cleaning the office for doing the last couple of orders, just so I could get a clean slate. But then, of course, 1 minute before putting the labels on, I get another order in. But I'm very sorry, Belinda. I've run out of time. But I'm really happy with how I got most of the orders done today. Tonight I just have to make up 2 cotton packs to slip into a couple of kits, but that's only going to take me 10 minutes. And then I'm just going to stitch all night because I really have to finish off that quarterly design because I need to start showing people and get all the new, like I need to do all my web pages and everything so people can sign up for that. So that's going to be the rest of this week, that and editing these videos. Here we go. Thanks for following along. It's a little bit chaotic, but that's basically what a full packing day looks like a regular Monday. All right, well, I'll see you next time.